National Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
I'm David C. Chavis, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong and we're still as local as red and green.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some...
And you want to be pulled in. And if you had the ability of multiple screens going last night, it was a fantastic night in sports. It is one of those nights why we talk about the playoffs, why we focus on postseason performances, on winning championships, because you do it with pressure. It's first round pressure, but it's still pressure. Overtime victories in the NHL playoffs, one of the most ridiculous comebacks you will ever see. They came up short in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Big time performances last night in the NBA, and the finishes in the basketball, in the hockey, it was phenomenal. It was a great night of sports. And we have it all covered for you right here on the opening drive. Welcome in. JJ Buck, Zay Johnson with you this morning. Adrian holding it down on ProView Networks. 505-246-0610. Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning for you. And it's a big day. We got King Thomas in studio at 9 o'clock to break down all this NBA playoff action and then get his thoughts as the Lobo roster continues to evolve. Officially official for a couple of the new signings. So you get some quotes from head coach Eric Olin on the commitments over the last week or so. So we'll dive into that. And also at 9:30, Brandon Cristal from Guerrilla Sports up there in Denver is going to hop on. We're going to get the buzz around the Broncos draft strategy, what Sean Payton wants to do, trying to compete in that AFC West, that all of a sudden you're looking at Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, but then it's Harbaugh and Herbert, Pete Carroll coming in trying to ignite the Raiders. And you had Sean Payton and Bo Nix were able to do last year. So we'll get his thoughts on what he's hearing from the Broncos and what he expects in the first round. And also dive into the buzz surrounding Denver, because last night, yes, two teams were in action and they both lost. The Nuggets and Avalanche go down. But we got to start with the Los Angeles Clippers. And there's a reason people like the Clippers going into the playoffs. One, they're playing just the best basketball of anyone heading into the postseason over the last 3 weeks. But they got those dudes. James Harden's pretty good. The postseason record, we know, doesn't have the championship yet. But a dude that has a championship is Kawhi Leonard. And it was a vintage Kawhi Leonard performance. He looked like a superstar. He was the best player on the floor. And that was with Nikola Jokic dropping another triple-double. But the turnovers. Kawhi Leonard finished with 39 points, 15 of 19 shooting. He is a mid-range monster. His release is so high. We talk about players like Kevin Durant. They can get their shot off at any point on the floor. When Kawhi Leonard is in rhythm, he can rise and you cannot stop him. And that is what happened last night. He had 21 points in the first half, also hit a 3 right before the halftime buzzer. Clippers led by 3 at the half, made key plays down the stretch, had a steal of an errant Nikola Jokic pass in the final minutes, where it was the Nuggets that were not able to click down the stretch. They were the ones making plays in game one, the game that went into overtime. Last night, it was the Clippers, and in the closest series in the NBA playoffs, it is the Nuggets and Clippers. Game one, Clippers turned it over 20 times, lost in overtime. Last night, the Nuggets turned it over 20 times, lose 105-102. That series is even at 1. But you watch the game one performance from the Clippers, who did get a 15-point lead early. Kawhi Leonard going off, and just some of the deficiencies for the Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr. responded, double-double, but then Norman Powell lands on him. He has a sprained shoulder. He's questionable for game 3. Seeing Kawhi Leonard, seeing the way the Clippers played in game 1 and 2 in Denver, now with the chance to go back home, I'm leaning LA in this series. I liked them before the series started, and I think that they have an opportunity to go win 2 in a row in LA and just put the Nuggets in a really tough spot. You had a special night from Kawhi Leonard, a good overall performance from the Clippers in a tight series. I think they have what it takes to beat the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, they definitely do. We saw they, were able to handle the Jamal Murray, Joker game that I, really believe that the Nuggets have to have if they even want to have a shot. But Kawhi has this thing where his mid-range, I remember exactly when it happened, too. It was when he was on the Spurs, and they told him that he wasn't scoring enough. And he went and he worked with Kobe on just, getting to his spots, getting to that mid-range spot, getting his shot off, and getting the shot that he wanted. And whenever he gets that mid-range kind of close to the paint, whenever he gets that mid-range going, there's nothing you can do because, like you said, his release point's so high, and you can't do anything about it. There's times where the Nuggets had multiple guys on both sides of his peripheral, and, when he gets to that spot, all he sees is a bucket. So there's nothing you can do.
He was also 4 of 7 from 3. So stretching the floor a bit. And by going 15 of 19 with 39 points, it was the 4th game in Kawhi's career where he scored 30 or more points on 75% shooting or better, which is just a crazy stat for a jump shooter. But the mid-range works. If you're that good at it, I know basketball gets so hyper-focused throughout the regular season, right? Teams shooting 3. What does the game look like? Is it hard to watch? Do you not like it? Postseason basketball is just different. And you got the dudes scoring at all levels, and that was Kawhi Leonard last night. That's why the Clippers are dangerous. They have 2 guys that can go bonkers. It was James Harden in game 1. It was Kawhi Leonard last night. And then it was the other pieces. Zubac, another double, 16 points, 12 rebounds. He is a tough matchup for Joker. Now, Joker, you look down, 26, 12, and 10. But he had 7 turnovers, wasn't comfortable in the fourth quarter, banging the entire game with Zubac. So that's what you want. You're not going to stop a player like Jokic. You're not going to stop a superstar, but you want to frustrate him a bit. Zubac did that.
Yeah, they're also staying in his passing lanes.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can tell when he's used to being able, it's almost like a quarterback going through their reads, like before they get sacked. It's like 1, 2, 3, all right, check out. the Clippers are taking away even his check down route. So he's trying to throw lob passes, towards the half court line, just trying to reset the ball, and he can't even get it there because that's the last team, especially with Kawhi Leonard on the floor. You don't want to just throw the ball up and hope your team's going to grab it.
The Clippers played really well in 2 games in Denver. They came out with the split. It's what you want to try to do when you open up a series on the road. And I liked them before it started, and I liked them a lot after watching them play those 2 games going back to LA. So they were victorious 105-102. You know who was playing pretty darn good? The Detroit Pistons. That is 2 games in a row where the Pistons had a fourth quarter lead. Last night, they almost choked it away. And this one would have definitely been higher on the collapse meter when you go 4 minutes in the fourth quarter without a field goal. And that was after already giving up a 21-0 run in game 1 in the fourth quarter. But the Pistons snapped the streak. I bet you didn't know this. Pistons had a 15-game postseason losing streak dating back, a heck of a long time because it's been a while since the Pistons have been a playoff team. But you go to that fourth quarter, the Knicks use a 16-4 run to tie the game at 94. And you're just watching going, all right, come on, Detroit, make a play. You can't have this happen again. 2 games on the road, you put yourself in position with fourth quarter leagues, and you're going to fall apart again in the fourth quarter. It's just all about experience. Did you not learn anything? Were you not able to take a step forward? Well, they did. Cade Cunningham was the best player on the floor yesterday. Dennis Schroeder was fantastic off the bench. He stepped up, hit a three-pointer with 55 seconds left. The Pistons make some defensive plays down the stretch, and they go on to win 100-94.
Yeah, and
33-12 for Cade Cunningham.
That's insane. And also, I think what we're seeing here, and I also saw this in game 1. This is why I picked the Pistons, because yes, a team can have good firepower, but when you control the whole game that much, and then you go back and watch film, it's like, okay, let's just do that same thing again, but let's finish it out. And this time they almost didn't finish it out again. And I think it's because, the Knicks, being a Tom Thibodeau team, they're going to be mentally resilient. They're going to be resilient just period. So I think what you're seeing is that the Pistons, I think they're the better team, or maybe they have the better matchup in this series. But the Knicks, they do have a level of fight to them that's allowing them towards the end of these games to creep back in. But I think now from go 6 out of 8 quarters, in total, the Pistons have completely dominated the Knicks.
They have, and I think you see why the 3 seed of the New York Knicks have been on the outside looking in. Why we haven't put them in the conversation of a true Eastern Conference Finals contender. I liked their 1 through 5 in this matchup versus the Pistons, but you see it play out. Let your eyes tell you the story and then react. Don't always hold serve to your first opinion. Don't always be hostage to your take before you see something play out. I liked the Knicks in this series overall, but you're seeing with the talent 1 through 5 of the Knicks, what's holding them back. And it's moments of having to play from behind, digging themselves out of the hole, having to watch Jalen Brunson really play hero ball and ISO ball for long stretches in the second half. It can get you some games against Detroit in a series, which we're going to see this go back and forth, but it's also why the Knicks, despite being the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, haven't been close in the conversation when it comes to Cleveland and Boston and winning the Eastern Conference. So 2 fantastic games in the NBA last night, ridiculous finishes in the NHL, which we're going to discuss because last night was just one of those nights you crave. That's what it's all about when you're watching postseason sports, is getting superstar performances, is getting clutch moments, and we got that across the board. An unbelievable night. 5 games, 3 in the NHL and 2 in the NBA that were awesome, and it's just round 1. 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. Kenny Thomas, join us at 9 o'clock, the Lobo legend, NBA veteran, break down what we've seen so far in the postseason and also the response now. Game 2, who steps up tonight with 3 games on the NBA slate, and we're looking at you. Lakers in that series, a 3-6 series, Lakers and Minnesota. We'll dive into, can the Lakers turn it around like we saw from the 2 teams last night and even this series against the Timberwolves? JJ Buck, Zay Johnson, and Adrian holding it down on ProView Networks right here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
It's part sports.
We have football on the brain.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom. Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King. And now that's a fire.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been.
With the ridiculous rush towards the net, and you're like, oh my gosh, what just happened? It's tied at 5. However, 42 seconds left. Philip Darno scored for the Kings the other way. Just ridiculous 2.5 minutes of hockey. The Kings, or how are we collapsing like this, blowing a 4-goal lead, a 2-goal lead with 2.5 minutes, only to score the game-winning goal with 42 seconds left. And what a night it was. And, oh, by the way, Winnipeg beat St. Louis 2-1. Jets have a 2-0 series lead, but 3 just ridiculous endings and pressure moments. It's just round 1 of the postseason, and we see that. But we saw the response last night in the NBA. JJ Bucksday Johnson with you. Clippers even the series at 1. The Pistons even the series at 1. And you look tonight. Indiana, Milwaukee. Pacers are 4.5-point favorites, and they controlled game 1. That was a comfortable victory for the Pacers in game 1 over the Bucks. Now, Dame Lillard was cleared but ruled out of game 1. He could be closer to getting back, but it's going to be a Dame Lillard that's not 100%. It's going to be very limited, and not going to be enough to change the series for the Milwaukee Bucks. Because Milwaukee, you can look at it and say, yeah, your number 2 is injured, which is fair. But I just look at Doc Rivers, Giannis, who is putting up plenty of numbers, but is there enough around him? What does Doc Rivers really elevate? I guess, they look back and say, well, again, you don't have Damian Lillard, so what do you expect from the Milwaukee Bucks? Like the Pacers. How about this? It's a 1-8 matchup, but a 14.5-point spread. The Thunder are 14.5-point favorites over the Grizzlies after that 51-point beatdown that the Thunder put on the Grizzlies. So we're really looking at, all right, the game of the night should be Game 2 in LA, Lakers and Timberwolves. Lakers 5.5-point favorites. And talk has been, well, it's going to be a LeBron game. LeBron has to be aggressive early. LeBron has to take over. But we've watched throughout his career, right? That's not what he likes to do. He reads the game, wants to see some others hit shots, and then he'll be that dude.
Yeah.
Do you think this has to be a LeBron game, or is it just going to be another game where we see LeBron do LeBron things? Luka's going to score early. Maybe Reeves gets off, and then it's second half LeBron.
I think what needs to happen is, for the best, possible outcome, I think that LeBron will quickly read if the role players are hitting their shots. I think naturally him and Luka, they don't want to play hero basketball, so they're going to drive and dish. I think if you see Dorian Finney-Smith, or you can throw Reeves into that category, you see Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith, Gabe Vincent, any of those guys, they hit a couple of their threes, I think you'll see LeBron maybe wait. But if they miss the first, few threes, I think he's going to try to get active immediately. It's not too often you see, LeBron when he's Game 6 versus Boston, where he just comes out and he's just, straight up shooting to prove a point. I don't think we'll see that. I think he will let the game come to him still. But I think he'll, really read his team. And if they're not, hitting shots, he'll very quickly try to get going.
what is a great thing about LeBron. I know people like to always kind of use that against him. He was too passive. He passes things up. No, he sets the table. He does it all, and it's going to be fascinating tonight just to see how he plays it early, because Luka's going to get his, right? As he did the other night.
I'm just scared they're telling him, "Hey, Luka, you just scored 37 and we lost." So don't. It's like, no, him scoring the 16 kept us from getting blown out.
Yeah, that's a feel-out process in pressure moments still for Luka and LeBron. Round one of the playoffs, you're coming in. Everyone loves you. Like, this is going to work. They're Western Conference Finals contender. And the T-Wolves were like, hey, we were only a game back in the standings. We might be the 6th seed, but we still got some players. Yeah. And now they had their ridiculous role player game in game one with McDaniels going off for 25, Naz Reid 23. And so those guys are going to come back down to earth. And part of that, too, is what you expect to see even out the game in game two. Is just, all right, a little more pressure on Ant, who was good across the board. We have 22, 8, 9, and then maybe it's a 30-point Ant performance. But due to those other guys, are they able to pick it up enough? And then not just the scoring, but, your role players kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Does that even things out? Does it feel like it's a closer game? Because when those guys are scoring, you fall behind, you start to get pushed around, and then that's when you get into the physicality discussion. And J.J. Redick talking about it post-game after game one. It says, hey, my team was there mentally, but we weren't there physically. Right, with the Timberwolves role players are coming back down to earth, it's a closer game on the offensive side. Does that then just kind of even things out across the board?
Yeah, I think it 100% does. But you also, at the same time, yes, they will come back down to earth, but there is a point in the game where, I was looking at the scoreboard, and the Lakers' point total was nowhere near where it usually is. So I think and that's the whole reason why people were so comfortable picking the Lakers, because you tell yourself, even if the Timberwolves play well, if the Lakers also play well, them being the better team, it should result in them winning. So I think, and I hate to sound like, I don't prioritize defense, because I do. But I think in the Lakers case, yes, the Timberwolves had a very, very hot game, the first one, but I think they need to focus on, offensively, you got to get other people involved, because
You just got to hit those shots.
Yeah, you got to hit those shots.
Because there's not going to be a lot to go around when you have Luka, LeBron, and Reeves. You got to maximize your moments with the others. There's more to go around for the T-Wolves, like Naz Reid, McDaniels. Like, those guys are going to get more opportunities than role players for the Lakers. So it's maximizing the moments, which Lakers didn't do in game one. It was all Minnesota, 117-95. So will we see a bounce-back performance like we did last night? Clippers get it done. The Pistons closed it out, almost let game two get away in the fourth quarter like they did game one. But looking at Indiana, Milwaukee, if there's no Dame Lillard, can just Giannis have a bonkers game and put that kind of pressure on the Pacers? Because it's just solid. We discussed it yesterday, and I just appreciate what the Pacers do.
Yeah.
Just good basketball. It's a competitive franchise. And they're on the outside looking in right now in terms of that conference finals discussion. But sometimes that's not bad. Just put yourself in position, get to the second round, see what happens, and then you could be a team.
Yeah, and
playing in the Eastern Conference Finals.
With Dame Lillard, I've never seen a situation where a player is recovering from missing due to a blood clot. But I think it's also important just to kind of know that it's not like as if he came back from like a twisted ankle or a bad wrist or something. I don't know exactly like what that affects, or maybe there's treatment he had to go through.
Well, he's on blood thinners.
Okay, so that's going to be
he probably was not doing a whole lot of high level exercise.
You think the conditioning will be down a little bit
point in time? Okay. Absolutely. This is what ended Victor Wembanyama's season this year.
Mm-hmm. But he didn't come back, right? So I was like, that's why I had me worried.
Well, that's why people are shocked that we're already seeing Lillard.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what the difference is here. I wonder if it's like one team's being more cautious than the other, or what.
Probably a little bit of that, but if Dame is cleared, he's cleared by the doctor, so you can't really fake, whether you're on or off blood thinners at this point in time from the medical staff.
Definitely.
But if he comes back, you have to have very low expectations for the impact of just missing that amount of time. But again, it's just Milwaukee's been in this situation since they won that NBA championship, and you're like, oh, is is Giannis going to be able to pick off a couple of these? He still could. But you look at Giannis, Nikola Jokic, in situations where you win a championship, but then it almost doesn't feel like it's enough. You're like, well, you're so good, you got to be getting more. And now, the Nuggets and Bucks. Now, the Bucks situation is much worse than Denver's right now. And that's, I shouldn't say much, more challenging. More challenging to come back in that series with the questions versus, the Nuggets right before the regular season ends, blowing out everyone, trying to find something some way, somehow. And Jokic, Murray, Gordon, MPJ hurt. Yeah, there's still more there for Denver, but, man, you're just looking at Giannis and Doc and going, they're just going to come up short again in the playoffs. 505-246-0610. That's the Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. What a fall guy. Get yourself a PR guy to take the hits like the Dallas Mavericks have, because if you make a bad decision and you have one person that can just sit there and take it over and over and over again, what a fall guy. They got one in Dallas. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is brought to you by United.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Irving could come back. It could be a magical postseason run somehow, some way. Kyrie and AD and the end of Klay Thompson's career. They won an NBA championship. No one is going to care because it's going to be all about Nico Harrison trading Luka Doncic. And he is trying to own it, but can't get out of the way and just realize it's just going to take shots and get hit. And it's going to be a dead horse that they beat over and over and over and over because that was their favorite horse in Dallas. It was their prized racehorse. It's what they loved. It's what they wanted to watch for the next decade. And it was gone. It was because of Nico Harrison. Now, it wasn't 100% his decision. Now, Mark Cuban can say all he wants of, oh my gosh, how did this happen? Well, it happened because you sold the majority stake in your franchise. And you turned over the decision to other people. And who knows what the new ownership was thinking coming in and not being basketball people. You don't have to be a basketball person to own a franchise, but to get to a point where this decision was given the okay, it's ownership. It's Nico Harrison. And now here we are. It's opening drive at 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. And JJ Buck and Zay Johnson. So post-season news conference for the general manager, Nico Harrison, who this is what happens. End of the season. GM wraps it all up. Exit interviews. Final thoughts from players and coaches. Nico Harrison was out there yesterday, and he said, quote, I did know Luka was important in the fan base, but I didn't quite know it to what level.
And if you listen, you can tell he's getting ready to say to this extent. Because the question's basically asking him, like, did you expect this kind of reaction? And he's like, I mean, I knew they liked him, but I didn't know it was bad enough to get death threats and for me to need to up my security and for me to have 80,000 people chanting that I should lose my job. I didn't know they liked him that much.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah, it's the biggest trade in history, bro. It's the biggest trade in history.
Going over the booing, firing Nico Harrison, absolutely. The other stuff where you need extra security is just bonkers, right?
Yeah, that's definitely 100%.
Like that at that point in time, go for a walk and stop watching basketball for a while.
Yeah,
and become one of those people.
If basketball gets you that much, take a break.
But the fire Nico Harrison chants, everything else that comes with it, yes, because you're a public figure. This was a superstar in Dallas that even rose above the Dallas Cowboys. The star, America's team. It's Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, it's Jerry Jones. Luka was on a different level for Dallas fans. Like, he was special. He was on that tier.
Yes, he was giving the city way more happiness than the Dallas Cowboys.
They were saying this is someone for the next decade that's going to. It was Dirk Nowitzki 2.0. Like, they believed he was bringing a championship to the Dallas Mavericks, to the fans, because they were just in the finals last year. Like, they saw the path. Like, this is going to work. And then Nico Harrison comes in and blows it all up. And if you just want to have a straight basketball conversation, and we've had it with Kenny Thomas, who's going to join us at 9 o'clock. Like, Kenny Thomas sat here and said, yeah, that's a better team. They're better with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. And Nico Harrison can keep telling me defense wins championships and all this. There's just some things you can't do. And it's not, hey, you need to take a step back and think outside the box. And don't be a prisoner to the moment. Think differently. Like, this was the anchor for the next 10 years. It's not Kyrie Irving, who's in his 30s.
Yeah.
It's not Anthony Davis, who's in his 30s. It's Luka Doncic. And he's tried to kind of be the feisty one and own it and say, hey, we made this move. You see the pieces. And he said that again yesterday. He said, quote, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage.
Yeah, had there not been any injuries, right? I'm so sick of, like, this whole Luka defense thing, and not to make this a Luka segment, but it's just...
It is a Luka. It's exactly what it is.
Well, it's more so like on Nico and the Mavericks, but like not like Luka's like skill ability. But like this whole thing with, he can't play defense, it's getting so out... It's getting so out dried. So like it's like you can't just keep saying this about Luka, because number one, how many people in the league are just lockdown defenders? Let alone people that are carrying an offense.
His offensive efficiency, his offensive ability outweighs the defense, and which is why you build around Luka differently.
And they're talking like he's just the worst defender of all time. Like, he still goes out there, he tries, he plays the passing lanes a little bit. Yeah,
because the elite offensive skill of Luka Doncic covers that up. You build around that.
Everyone's like, he can't lock down Anthony Edwards. Okay. He sucks at defense. It's like, okay, Anthony Edwards is one of the most unguardable people in the NBA.
It's why, the Clippers, use them as an example. They were trying to figure it out over the last few years. What works? You know what works? Is when you get a healthy Kawhi Leonard, who's a good defender, with James Harden, who's not.
Yeah, I don't want to see
build it together, right? You don't always have to ask your best player to be your best defender, because not all things are created equal. You build around that. And Nico Harrison thought it was, hey, let's go with Kawhi and his offense, and then Luka Doncic will get us a top 20 player in Anthony Davis, which, okay, it's just not the right play. It wasn't the right play. It's never going to be the right play, even if Kyrie Irving was healthy, to give up a decade of Luka Doncic. But then just to find ways to talk yourself out of it, it's tough. You're Nico Harrison, but you're the general manager, man. You have to sit there, you have to own it, and then to say, well, I didn't think you meant this much to the franchise. Well, what were you doing? Did you ever turn on a Mavericks game? Did you look at the jerseys in the stand?
Yeah.
Before you took that job, did you have any idea of who the best player on that team was? Because you're not a dumb man to get to that point. The business moves, what he's done in the NBA, it got him the job in Dallas. But just to fumble this post-trade so bad and just keep adding fuel to the fire for Maverick fans. Instead of going, hey, we made the trade, we were trying to do this, we'll see what happens next year. We made the trade, we'll see what happens next year. It's always something else. It's taking shots, whether it's Dirk Nowitzki, it's pushing back on the fans, or I didn't know he meant that much. Like, it just makes it worse. And people are never ever say never. No, I'm saying never. I can give this man an opportunity to do anything or give him credit for anything that happens with the Mavericks.
Yeah, and Luka's connection with the city, I mean, especially in hindsight, not only does his reaction expose that and show you how close that they were, but even little things like him telling the Mavericks, no, I'm not doing any sponsorship deals with you. But then as soon as the Laker game's over, he goes and works at the Dick's Sporting Goods, and he's working as a cashier. So he's like, I'm not going to help out this franchise, but I love this city. And that was the day after the game. So he's, after the Lakers-Mavericks game, the next day, he's still hanging out in Dallas. He's going around the community, I'm sure, doing the things he misses doing. But it's aged really, really bad. The injuries have made it worse. But I will give Nico a little bit of credit in saying that if Kyrie and Anthony Davis were both healthy, this is a team that's definitely still playing in the playoffs.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
They're still in the
fall into
playoffs.
that trap.
They're not winning the championship this year, but they're in the playoffs still. Like, we're talking about
good,
them.
Man. It just wasn't good. 505-246-0610. It is the opening drive right here in the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores, your local Staples.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 294-7684 or visit hanswillerauto.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Lobo Hoops makes it official yesterday. We knew the players were coming, but they officially announced the signing of Antonio Scholl and the Patton brother. We'll get into that. How the roster's shaping up with still plenty to happen in the transfer portal. With so many players still in negotiations and movement. Because also you got to factor in the NBA draft. Players testing the NBA draft waters. They'll be going through workouts. So they'll be getting ready for the NBA draft while maintaining their eligibility. So this window of player movement is going to be open for a while. Because once you're in the portal, it's not, oh, the portal closes, no one can sign. No, you're in the portal. You just can't enter it after the portal window closes. While those players in the portal will still be looking for places to go, potentially an influx of players coming from overseas, as we've discussed over the last week or so. So a lot of roster movement is still to happen. You know, Lobos looking for a veteran point guard to bring into the mix. Some depth at the forward position, definitely someone that can start at the 5. And there's some of the most expensive players in the transfer market right now, but there's so many. This process is going to happen, I'm sure, the end of next month, heck, maybe even into June, we could be discussing players that sign with Lobo basketball, because again, you have still so much movement. Players in the portal, players draft eligible. Maybe they don't like what they're hearing about their draft prospects, so they'll come back to school. Where do they filter in? Did their team do something? Does that open up a spot? So much still to be determined. We can discuss what Eric Olin has done to this point in time, and also what he had to say now, because it's official that he can talk about a couple of the Lobos that have signed as he builds his roster. We'll have Kenny Thomas, the Lobo legend, NBA veteran, in studio at 9 o'clock. Break down the playoff action to this point in time. Excellent games last night. Last night is what you want as a sports fan. When you kick back, the multi-screen available. I know the YouTube multi-view was working overtime for me last night. The great NHL finishes with the 2 overtime wins, and then the ridiculous Oilers-Kings contest where Edmonton comes back from a 4-goal deficit to tie it at 5, and then the Kings score the game-winning goal with 42 seconds left in the third period. And then the fourth quarter action, Detroit not falling completely on their face, and the Pistons, that's 2 games where you could see them being the better team. Now, the fourth quarter difference in game 1, a 21-0 run from the Knicks, but despite not scoring for 4 minutes last night, Pistons made the plays in the final minute. And then the Clippers. And the Clippers, even though it's 1-1 going back to LA, I think they're in control of that series. They built a 15-point lead in game 1. The effort was there from the Nuggets. They get back in it. They make the plays in an overtime victory. Last night, Kawhi Leonard goes bonkers. 39 points, superstar performance from Kawhi. And you have to be feeling really good if you're the Clippers that you are now a favorite in that series, especially with Michael Porter Jr. getting hurt. And your Porter had 15 points, 15 rebounds. He responded after essentially being benched at the end of the game 1. He was getting outplayed by Russell Westbrook, but Porter Jr. is that 3rd, 4th guy that needs to pop for the Nuggets, and he was having himself a good game. Gets hurt, so it's even more pressure on Jokic and Murray to try to do things, and they lack some of that athleticism on the wing. They're not a good defensive team, and you just take away Porter Jr. potentially moving forward, and it's a good spot for the Clippers to knock off the the Denver Nuggets. But when we come back on the other side, we'll dive in to what Eric Olin was able to now say about some of the additions to the Lobo roster, what we're looking at, what they're still looking at moving forward. JJ Buck, Zay Johnson holding it down. ProView Networks, Adrian doing a great job. You can watch the show over there. Of course, you're listening to 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfasfa.org. That's nmfasfa.org.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-2 294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
Opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. Here's Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Oh, what it do? Welcome in. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Great Tuesday morning. So much to react to from last night. NFL draft right around the corner, round one on Thursday. We'll get a peek into what the Denver Broncos are thinking about. Brandon Krisztal from Guerrilla Sports up in Denver is going to join us at 9:30. Look at where they slot in the AFC West battle, where it's super intriguing now. Of course, it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Then it's Harbaugh and Herbert, Peyton and Nix, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith. But the Raiders have the 6th pick. What are they going to do? Is it Ashton Jeanty time for Pete Carroll and the Raiders? We know that Bo Nix, Sean Payton, it works. The upside. What are the Broncos thinking about with the 20th overall pick? Just pick his brain about the NFL drafts. I'm probably talking about the gut punch it was for Avs and Nuggets fans last night in a span. Probably about an hour. The end of the Nuggets game to the overtime loss for the Avalanche in Dallas. Both those series are 1-1. Just a fantastic night of sports. It's what you want. It's what you're looking for as a sports fan. Are you not entertained? Absolutely. We are entertained at a really high level last night. Kenny Thomas joined us at 9 o'clock this morning, talking more hoops and diving into this Lobo roster. JJ Buck, Zay Johnson with you this morning. 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. We have someone on the text line that thinks they are texting KKOB, and they're not. Heads up.
I hope
I'm not talking about tariffs and Secretary of Defense and all that, just so you know. It's over there. BB is holding it down with everyone in D.C. this morning. So just we're on text line. Just a heads up to that. But when it comes to Lobo basketball, we have the foundation. We see it right now. Antonio Chol, Jake Hall, Ryan Tenetti, the Patton brothers, Chris Howell, Milos Vincentich. It's a foundation for Eric Olin in year one. And you got to sign the paperwork, grant and aid, all this stuff, and then you can make it officially official. Players put it out there on social media, but you can't get the comment from the head coach just yet. Well, Eric Olin was able to talk about the Patton brothers and Antonio Chol as they were able to make it official yesterday in a release. And, you know, Chol right now, I think is the one player Lobo fans are most excited about. 6'9" JUCO transfer from Garden City Community College, began his collegiate career at Rutgers. We're talking about someone who was second-team JUCO All-American last year, averaged 19.5 points, 7.6 boards, 47% from the floor, 39% from three. So it was a versatile 6'9" forward. It's coming in, and Olin said on Scholl, quote, he's a talented scorer who will help us be explosive on offense. His size and length on the wing will be impactful defensively, end quote. And that's exactly what you see. It's just, and we talk about those wing players that are hard to defend. And a scorer that when he rises up, it's going to be tough to stop. Well, that's a 6'9" dude that can play inside out, but attack you from the perimeter. And that's what Scholl brings to the table. And right now, it feels like he'll be the focal point of the offensive attack for the Lobos. And then you have the Patton brothers. So Kevin Patton, a 6'8" forward. Kalai Patton, the 6'4" guard. And Kalai was a walk-on redshirt last year at USC, did not play, so he has 4 years of eligibility. Now Kevin began his collegiate career at San Diego, where he was a all-freshman recognized player in the West Coast Conference, averaged 9.8 points, 4.4 boards, 2.4 assists per game. Went to USC last year, played about 8 minutes per game, 27 appearances on the season, but you see the explosiveness from Kevin, and you see that's something that Eric Olin is getting, is just explosive athletes that then he can work with and mold to what he wants. When it comes to the Patton brothers, Olin said, quote, they are both just scratching the surface with their best basketball ahead of them. In addition to the highlight plays, the Pattons bring high basketball IQ and a competitive nature that Lobo Nation will love. And of course, the highlights from Kevin Patton, he's a guy that you just see him throwing it down in the lane. And with what we learned about UCSD, about Eric Olin, what we watched last year at the end of the season when people were buzzing about UCSD, what they were doing in the Big West. They go in and they were a trendy 12 seed, came up short against Michigan, one possession game in the NCAA tournament. We see the defensive versatility, and now you have that philosophy, that mindset with the explosiveness that you're seeing from some of these players, especially, of course, over the weekend. Uriah Tenetti, the 5'10" guard from Prescott High School in Arizona, his highlight reel was just dunks. You don't expect to see that from a 5'10" guard. So explosiveness, the athleticism, check. The system, it's going to be emphasized on the defense, the length that we're seeing. Chris Howe following Olin from UCSD, the 6'6" wing player. Milos Vincentich going to get you some scoring. The 6'7" forward who did not play last year because he hurt his foot early in the season, but he was an outstanding three-point shooter before he got to UCSD. His time, and one of the things when you look at what he did in 75 games, quote unquote, in a lower level, but your shooter, that's going to translate. And so you see the pieces to the puzzle. You see the explosiveness. You see the athleticism. I think so far so good. And now, yeah, you're attacking a veteran point guard in this market. You're looking for a starting five. There's still so much to be determined. As we were discussing before the break, there's going to be players that won't be making their final decisions until late in June, or when the final cutoff date is for the NBA draft, because you're testing the draft waters while keeping your eligibility open. Those players could still be on the market. Once you're in the transfer portal, you can commit to whenever at this point in time. It's just once the portal closes, you can't go in. So there's just so much movement, still so much to be determined. I think Eric Olin coming in, having to rebuild an entire roster. And that's what we'll see, too, in the transfer portal era. It's not just the player movement, the players leaving, which is going to happen. But when there's a coaching change, it's going to be absolutely everyone. And that's what we saw in this case, Lobos having to rebuild from scratch. And having to do that, and then looking at what the initial foundation is for this team, it's very intriguing. And I think there should be some excitement for what this team could look like with the explosiveness. When you start pairing a scoring ability of Chol, and then you mix that with, I think, the experience that will then come from the next additions from the transfer portal, it is a very intriguing roster. 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. We'll talk about just the explosiveness with Kenny Thomas of when you have the athlete. Lobos have the athletes brought in, and now they're molding that to the system. Because, they say, well, we can't teach height. Well, you can't teach explosiveness, right? You either have those things or you don't. Now, Lobos have some of that on the roster, and now how do they mold it to fit what Eric Olin wants to do? Because he's going to be able to pick out every single person on this year's Lobo roster. You know what we have to do today, too, Jose?
What's that?
Got some tickets to give away.
Nice.
All week long, we're hooking you up for the Santa version 2.0, which is Sunday, the 27th, right around the corner this weekend. They're going to be blasting Isleta, Primus, A Perfect Circle, a heck of a rock concert this weekend. We got a pair of tickets. Let's do that right now.
All righty.
If you just listen to my Lobo monologue, well, guess what? You get a chance to win some tickets right now. Caller number 3, 505-246-0610. Get yourself a pair of tickets to that show this weekend. It's the Santa version 2.0, Primus, A Perfect Circle. We're going to rock out the 27th at Isleta. So caller number 3 right now, 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive right here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by True Green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in
It's a solid concert season. We got you covered all summer, along with giveaways to plenty of concerts. Appreciate you hanging out with us on the Sports Animal. Some more tickets to give away the rest of the week. Enjoy the great shows that are coming to the 505. It's JJ Bucks, A. Johnson with you. Adrian holding it down on ProView Networks. Kenny Thomas coming in at 9 o'clock this morning. Talking hoops, the NBA playoffs. Fantastic night of action last night with the Pistons and Clippers. Victorious in Game 2 on the road, tying those series at 1 over the Knicks and Nuggets. And then Thursday night, the NFL Draft. And you know, Shedeur Sanders is the buzz of where he's going to go. But this draft is going to be all over the place. And it's going to be all over the place because there's good talent at multiple positions. You know, Daniel Jeremiah has become one of the go-to talking heads, former NFL scout. See him all over the place, see him on NFL Network, hear him on all type of shows. And, you know, Jeremiah said something that I think describes this draft perfectly when you read through all the coverage in the mock drafts and all the scouts and reports that are out there. And this is a starters draft, maybe not a stars draft. And well, usually know the star power tends to come from the quarterbacks, potentially wide receivers. Like we saw last year, a heck of a first round for wide receivers. But this year, we're looking at running backs, defensive tackles, edge rushers, cornerbacks. So the depth of this draft, and I think the running back position is going to be fascinating because it's everything ebbs and flows in sport and in life. What might go out of style, heck, give it 10, 15, 20 years. It comes back. Now, I think with running backs, they have always mattered in the NFL. The problem was, to what level do you pay a good running back?
Because that shelf life.
Exactly, the shelf life, the second contract. You know, the Zeke second contract in Dallas, the Christian McCaffrey making that level of money, then getting hurt. But then teams watch Saquon Barkley and they're like, oh, running backs matter. They've always mattered. It's just been to what level? Because you can find good production from running backs in an offense, and it doesn't have to be a guy that you pay high level money to in a second contract. You can find young guys in the draft. You can find guys that can pop, but it's also timing with some of it. Like if you're a bad team and you draft a running back, you're not going to be good because that's Saquon Barkley. So running backs matter, but it's also at the right moment. Like taking Jahmyr Gibbs when Dallas was ready to pop. That was the right moment.
You mean Detroit?
Excuse me, Detroit.
Yeah. Unless you're
Wrong
Adrian
team.
Peterson. He's the only guy I maybe saw pull it off. That's like the best.
AP in Minnesota.
Or not even Barry Sanders. I mean, would you consider him?
Because Barry Sanders was the best running backs of all time, and Detroit really wasn't anything.
Yeah,
so
he could.
Running backs matter. The investment to it. I've calmed down a little bit on my take of not wanting to touch one in the first round because it also goes to, are you ready to take that next step? And when you look at the first round running backs, they're good players. Like Bijan Robinson is a good player. Atlanta is close to popping. So it's all these positions, whether we're talking about a running back, a wide receiver, it's fit, it's timing. I think the running back is going to be fascinating because the over-under was set at 2.5. Running back selected in the first round.
Wow.
And I think we could be flirting with the over of first-round running backs this year. 505-246-0610. Cleveland Mike, you're on the opening drive. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I am doing well. How you guys doing this morning?
Doing good, man.
Good to hear. Man, what a week we got. Like you say, are we not entertained? We got hockey, NBA playoffs, but we do have the draft this week. And, of course, my name is Cleveland Mike, and so you know that I'm a Browns fan. I've been tweeting to the Browns every single day, and this is what my tweet says: Cam Ward or Travis Hunter only. And I've been tweeting them this, or whatever you call it these days. I've been sending this to them every single day. Cam Ward or Travis Hunter only.
So Travis
kind
Hunter
of like on the
only.
movie Draft Day. You know, you write yourself a little note, and you never steer away from that. So, I'm excited. Man, I just hope that we don't botch this. Another thing I was going to talk about is that concert that is happening this weekend. Oh, my God. Like, Primus is legendary, but a lot of people don't know that A Perfect Circle and Pussifer, their front man is the same lead singer from Tool. So get out there, people, because it's going to be amazing. One of the best shows that we will have in Albuquerque in a decade. So, with that being said, I just wanted to ask one more question, because I never knew. Which Lobo player is the one that punched the other guy? Could we say that now or no?
That's a good point. I don't know if that's officially official. We've been talking about all that stuff this morning.
Did not think it was going that route. Wow.
I like that ending from Cleveland Mike, dropping about the show this weekend. And then, oh, by the way, you remember that story that just happened to go away because the Lobos were winning and they didn't want to walk on and ruin the season? Yeah. We didn't forget about it, but might have moved on from it.
Yeah, Cleveland Mike, I had that same moment a couple months ago. I was able to figure it out.
Legal process play out.
Yeah.
I think I'll leave that one to the interwebs
Yeah.
and to the X and all the people putting the dots together.
Now I got to be careful another caller's not going to butter us up and then drop the bomb at the end.
Hey,
nothing
fair
against-
question, right? They're kind of like, what happened to that? Well, what happened is Lobos were winning. They were cutting down nets, so went to the NCAA tournament. And everyone was like, yeah, we're not worried about a walk-on right now. Whatever happened in that situation. This is what no one's here anymore. So the coach, the walk-on, the alleged player that punched the walk-on, no one's here. Wash your hands of it. Ain't my problem.
Yeah, including the coach. Yeah, everyone's gone.
Everyone's gone. It took everyone with them. They just left the chairs. That was it. But to his point, on the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, back to the.
It's Travis Hunter then.
If
you're sitting there, Cam Ward or Travis Hunter. What's Travis Hunter? Cam Ward is going number 1 overall. To the Tennessee Titans.
Although Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett on the same D line would be. I mean, it would be
pretty good.
Yeah, it would be what Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa were supposed to be.
Yeah, with the Chargers. This is one where you can't mess up number 2.
No.
If it's between Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, which are viewed as the top 2 when it comes to best players available in the draft, it's Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. You look at whatever rankings you want; those are the top guys above everyone else. Just looking at wide receivers, whatever. It's the top players. Those are those 2, and it's take one or the other and move on.
I like to have asked Cleveland Mike, like, if you knew for sure that Abdul Carter would just be at least 90% of what Micah Parsons was as a rookie, would you pick him over Travis Hunter? I wish I could have gotten his thoughts on Abdul Carter. Maybe he's not a believer, or if he just would rather have a guy that can play both sides.
And the one thing that's so unique about Travis Hunter is he could be a bust on one side and still a star on the other.
Yeah.
Like, you could just realize, like, he just can't do this. Like, he just can't play both ways. But maybe you have a great wide receiver, or maybe you realize this dude actually has a ridiculous skill and he can be a boundary corner. Like, so you're giving yourself like 2 chances to hit on a top level player with Travis Hunter.
That's a good point.
Which is just so intriguing. Anywhere else, like Abdul Carter, you could come in and all of a sudden just realize, like, oh, this dude ain't got it. Like, he's just another one of those guys. But that happens with any of these dudes. But it does feel like, well, it doesn't feel like there is an opportunity that if you want to dabble, let Travis Hunter play both ways, which is so intriguing about it. Yes. But if something doesn't work, he could still be a standout player on either side of the football.
Yeah, I think
which almost was like you have to take him at number 2.
Yeah, Cleveland needs to go get Travis Hunter, and then the very next thing, whether they want to do it through trade or they think there's going to be a guy for them at their second pick, they need to get a quarterback.
Yeah, and the opportunity is going to be there. I know we were reading a story from Adam Schefter yesterday on the Draft Buzz, and he thinks that there could be more quarterbacks selected in the first 8 picks of the second round versus the entire first round.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, you're looking at the development of a Jalen Milroe. Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders, if they slide, the teams just wait. If we try to grab one and then actually take their chances and realize, I don't know if someone's going to trade up late in the first round to get one of these guys, so we'll go attack the top of the second round. A Kyle McCord, a Tyler Shuck. Like, these are the guys that are be going at the top of the second round, which all these guys are developmental prospects, but feel like they have a little bit longer window to potentially develop into an NFL starter, as opposed to last year's class. Last year's class was crazy. We had 6 quarterbacks on the first 12 picks, and all of them look like they got something. The one to be determined, of course, is J.J. McCarthy. He's going to get his opportunity this year with the Vikings. But Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson now, you're excited in Chicago. Drake May with Mike Vrabel. People are saying, all right, there is something there with that. Of course, no explanation needed with Jaden Daniels, what he did with the Commanders. Penix taking over late in this season. The arms there. It's just going to be about the rest of it, managing game situations and putting the football where it needs to go. Bo Nix got the Denver Broncos to the playoffs. Like, it was a crazy quarterback class. This year, it's a little bit of a step back. But people are going to be attacking it early in the second round.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Bo Nix is one. I think he started like a new standard kind of for the quarterbacks. But also at the same time, you got the rookies, the younger rookies like Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. Actually, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, they're both older as well. Yeah. I mean, if you really just look at it, I think
Daniels played like 5 years.
Yeah, I think the days of just like fiending over the super young quarterback 2 years in college, I think it's over.
I agree with that. You want a dude that knows what he's doing. Like, you can fall in love with the guy, but then that's the Anthony Richardson, right? It's like, oh, we'll develop him in the NFL. No. You don't really get a chance to do that. There's no such thing as NFL development. You either show you can play to give yourself a little bit of time, or if you ain't that dude, they're going to move on quickly. And that is why quarterbacks, if you're 24, 25 years old coming out, you're not scared to draft those guys anymore. One is because you realize, quarterbacks can play longer than most positions if you're good. And then also just the way athletes across the board are taking care of themselves. You're not drafting these guys expecting them to be Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, somehow, some way still playing into their 40s. But if you get the right quarterback, he's 25 years old. That's a decade. You're like, he can still be playing fine at 35.
Especially like the Arch Manning. I mean, people are looking at him. I mean,
well, he's got to play some football at some point in time.
Yeah, right.
It's a name.
I've never seen someone so hyped and like lifted so high without actually playing a college football season. Now, I completely understand.
Arch Manning was what the NBA draft used to be. And it was Kevin Garnett coming out of high school.
Yeah.
J.R. Smith coming out. These guys, you're like, oh, they're going to be so good. Well, that's Arch Manning. Yeah, he was a highly recruited dude out of high school. He's part of the Manning bloodline.
Manning with wheels? Oh, we need him.
Let's let him try to win some college games and see what he's like. 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line for you this morning. When we get back on the other side, I want to dive into the running back conversation because I know Shedeur Sanders is the buzz. It's a quarterback. It's crazy to me that the quarterback-needy teams aren't thinking about taking the quarterback where they are in the draft. But the running back could set off a domino effect in the first round. We'll talk about that next here on The Sports Animal.
This report is brought to you by United Way of North Central New Mexico.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction.
Appreciate the heads up on the text line. Did not see this on the social media, but within the past hour, Lobos have added a center. That's what we were talking about. What's coming next? Veteran point guard, and then start building inside at the 5 position. Well, JT Rock announced his commitment 52 minutes ago on the X to Lobo basketball. JT Rock is a 7'1" center from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He enrolled early at Iowa State, took a redshirt in 23-24 and 24-25. Only played 2.3 minutes a game for the Cyclones this past year. Was not in the rotation. He got stuck behind Deshaun Jackson and Brent Chatfield. But what he was able to do in those 2 years at Iowa State was get bigger. He was a developmental prospect coming out of high school, 7'1" kid, really slender frame. So it was, go in, get stronger, grow into yourself. So he was able to do that at Iowa State, get in the weight room, get a little bit stronger. Iowa State knew that was going to be a bit of a process for him. So you tip your cap to Iowa State and say, thank you for your strength program. And now he'll get a chance to get on the floor and start playing some basketball. Did he step in as your starting 5? We'll see. It was a ton of upside a few years ago. He was the top 100 recruit coming out of high school, but he's had the ability to train, get stronger, be at a high-level D1 institution at Iowa State. That's a solid addition. So check one of the boxes off the list. Now, again, I think you're looking at the next piece to that puzzle, an experienced forward, someone that's played at the Division I level, someone that's got some time under their belt as someone to come in and compete with JT Rock and be a part of that rotation. But there you go. You got our answer to inside at least one of the pieces for Lobo basketball. JT Rock, 7'1" center, transfer from Iowa State, committing to Lobo basketball. So if your first 5 put on the list with the wing players that we see, Antonio Chol, Kevin Patton, Milos Vincentich, the guard, Uriah Tinetti, Kalai Patton coming in, and now JT Rock, 7'1" center, commits to Lobo basketball. Is JJ Buck Zay Johnson with you? Our forward, Kenny Thomas, going to join us in studio coming up at 9 o'clock this morning. KT going to be breaking down all the NBA playoff action and get his thoughts on how the roster is developing with the explosiveness and then some size inside. All right, you had the development, you had the strength training for JT Rock, and now it's the on-the-floor experience that he needs. So the pieces for Lobo basketball, what are you looking at? Just an experienced center, an experienced point guard to come in and start really rounding out the edges of Eric Olin's year-round roster.
He's bigger than Nelly, huh?
Yeah, but Nelly, Nelly's 6'11".
Okay, so
really good
pretty
athlete.
close.
I don't care if you're 6'11" or 7'1". If you have the athleticism of Nelly Jr. Joseph, you're strong. You play inside. And now the question is, with JT is just where he's at physically now. He didn't play a lot because he was redshirting. But all right, you're in the weight room, you're practicing, you're at a high level institution, Iowa State. So you can see why you'd be very intrigued about that. With 7'1", all right, you got the size. Can't teach size.
Because even at 6'11", like you just said, a great athlete, but Nelly was by far the biggest 5 in the conference last year, wasn't he?
It wasn't I don't know if he was the biggest, but he was the best center in the Mountain West.
Yeah, he's most dominant. He was most dominant. Yeah. So if this guy can come in, dominate the boards, it might be able to run that back-to-back seasons.
Defense and rebounding, where it starts. And see what kind of touch does he have? What's his style? Can he beat you in the high post? Is he going to be able to get down low? His hands catching the basketball. Took Nelly some work to improve on that. Last year there was some question. Year before this past season, some question marks with Nelly. But then all of a sudden he became somebody who can feed the ball into the post, go to, play through. There's going to be a process for JT Rock coming in because he hasn't played a lot of basketball.
Get him some work with Kenny, it'd be all right.
Yeah, I'm sure Kenny could give him some pointers, absolutely. But he was able, for himself, reading about who he was when he committed to Iowa State, where he came in really early out of high school, redshirted in the 23-24 season because, he's 7'1", but he's a skinny kid. And so, all right, you got 2 years of pounding McDonald's, of pounding the weight room, of practicing. Yeah, you're a redshirt, but you're still in practice. You're still getting pushed around, still getting banged around and getting that experience. It's another player that you just see the upside, the excitement level, the potential that is there coming into the Slovo roster.
When you're redshirting, you may not be getting, the experience reps, but you can transform your body at a much faster rate than anybody else can.
Yeah, and that's what he needed to do, and he did that at Iowa State. And Lobos say, appreciate you all there at Iowa State. Now we're going to bring him in and see if he can be our starting 5 this season.
7'1", 260, but that might have been last year, so he might be a cool little 270. 7'1", 270.
We'll have to see. I guess how he flows. Kind of again, is he a smooth 7'1" guy? Is he just does he turn himself into a banger? Because if you're skinny like that, you're probably, I would hope by that kind of have good hands. You work with it in a post, but who knows? That's what I said. And I was talking with Kenny the other day. He's like, practice. I'm like, yes, practice, dude. You can learn what these guys are. Now, it's not a game situation. We're not talking about pressure. But I'm excited to see a practice. If there's an open practice this summer, that would be awesome to see. Of just, all right, what do these guys look like? It's one thing to see highlight tapes and kind of read scouting reports and all this stuff. But when you get on the floor, you can see the footwork. You can see, can you catch a post-entry pass? Do you freak out with the balls in your hand? Like things like that. When you get to see a person live with your own eyes, you can learn what kind of player they are. Because the initial foundation for having to rebuild an entire roster for Lobo basketball, I'm intrigued. I do think there's a lot of exciting pieces on this roster. And you got yourself a 7-foot player. I know, saw the jokes on the X. Jeff Grammer talking about it. Oh, 7-footers, this and that. You got one. Lobo basketball is 7'1" center JT Rock, who committed via the X this morning. 505-246-0610. It is the opening drive right here on the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Allstate.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
For your surprisingly great rates, Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
So what is it about the NFL draft? Why do people like it so much? Because it's a great talking point. It's with anything you talk about coaching decisions, roster decisions. You can debate how you want your team to be built, who you think's good. You get to play general manager. You're like, you know, I really like this prospect. I think this running back is the best in the draft. Of course it makes sense why this pops. It's what we do. It's sports debate that goes beyond just the game. It's why there's so many platforms, social media, podcasts, radio, sports talk radio, still hanging on by a thread while we hang out and do this. Because we love to talk about building rosters, making roster decisions, putting players in different places. And this is a draft that the star power might not be there, but people are going to pop. And while, yeah, it might be quarterback heavy, you're going to get yourself Pro Bowlers. You're going to get yourself a foundation to winning teams. You're going to add to a championship caliber roster with the draft. And it's also the undrafted free agent stuff. You know, the league is so big. It's not just first round picks. First rounders highlighted. But the majority of these rosters, yeah, it's second round and later. And it's what we love about the process, at least what I love about it. It's the debate, the future, the talk, breaking it all down. Like, I'm a geek when it comes to this stuff. I love the draft and trade deadline and roster construction, because when you're talking about performance and expectations for a team, this is where it starts, is building the foundation, adding players to your roster. And what's so intriguing about this draft is how it's come back around. And, you know, running back is going to be a very interesting piece to the entire draft. You know, Sean Payton, we've been talking about the Broncos looking at a Bronco and Ashton Jeanty and really liking Ashton Jeanty. Well, Denver's picking 20th. And then you ask yourself, yeah, you like Ashton Jeanty, but is it worth giving up what it's going to take?
You know, Broncos,
jump into the top 5?
Bronco fans love Amari and Hampton. Like,
yeah,
when I temp check it, they love him.
Well, because they know that's the one that's available. The running back from North Carolina, Amari Hampton Jr., 3-down lead back, speed, upside, and he could be there at 20. And that's why you start falling in love with that guy. Because, you know, Ashton Jeanty, who was on Pro Football Talk yesterday, said, you know, he feels that, you know, he could go anywhere from 6 to 12. No, you could go anywhere from 4 on. Like, the Patriots are in play for Ashton Jeanty. Like, when you look at the rankings and you're trying to piece it all together, and I've been reading a lot of Daniel Jeremiah stuff this morning. So that's why I've mentioned it a couple times. But he has Travis Hunter as the top graded player in this draft, followed by Abdul Carter. And the third best player overall, it's Ashton Jeanty. So, yeah, it could be 4 on from Jeanty. Like, this is, you know, Ezekiel Elliott territory. We know where the Cowboys took him. Was it 3rd overall?
4th.
4th overall? Like, where? Yeah, that's Ashton Jeanty right now.
Yeah. It hurts. It hurts my heart to talk about him, because I wanted him for so long.
Thought he was going to be there at 12. You thought he was going to be there.
It's that, but I
see, right? This is what we want. So we're screwing about. You should just tank the season.
Yeah, I didn't want him to have 12. They were sitting at 9, 10 for so long.
That would not have mattered with Ashton Jeanty. Not have mattered.
Maybe.
You're not bad enough to get Ashton Jeanty. But that's a fascinating one with this draft, is it's Shedeur Sanders and the Giants. Well, if they need a quarterback, why aren't they taking Shedeur? But then the Ashton Jeanty piece of how the rest of that kind of top 10 could play out, because it is for on for Genty. And did we see a little bit of a run then late in the first round on running backs as people coming back to the position? It matters. It's always a question of the price tag at that position. Lobos have a new commitment this morning via the social media. Picked up one over the weekend. You got official comments from Eric Olin on 3 of the signings. And Kenny Thomas, the Lobo legend, NBA forward, veteran forward, is going to join us. Coming up next, we're going to talk Lobo basketball. NBA playoffs, just phenomenal games last night. It's opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
From the Sandia foothills.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf.
And KNML, the sports animal. Now it's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. Here's Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
That's all right. You can keep them sun of shades on. Allergy season. Bright lights of the studio. But you're used to that. Bright lights.
I'm the brightest light.
The shine. KT in
What's
studio.
up,
What's
my
up, man?
fellas? How y'all doing, man? Hey, you got this recording on. I look like I'm I don't know,
like I'm a celebrity with my glasses.
You are a celebrity.
Man, I'm blessed, man. My allergies, my eyes are swollen. It's pretty bad, man. I had
It's been rough.
Big headache last night.
Yeah, it's been rough. You know, it's spring, windy season, but I've been feeling you, man.
Oh yeah,
it's been a little rougher.
How y'all doing?
Awesome. Doing good, man. Just excited. Last night was awesome. You know, it's just one of those nights you sit back, you're watching great hockey games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, 2 big-time fourth-quarter games in the NBA playoffs. And it's just what you want. That's what you're looking for.
Missed it, man. I was in bed by 8:30.
Yeah, you're resting up. You had to get
Man,
prepared
it
for
was
this
bad.
this morning.
Who won? Clippers or Nuggets?
Clippers won.
Yay! 1-1-1. Hey, 1-1.
Kawhi Leonard, 39 points.
Wow.
15 of 19 shooting.
Wow.
It was a vintage Kawhi Leonard performance. He was unstoppable. And the one thing with Kawhi, too, is he's a mid-range monster, but he's so long. He has that shot. And when he gets it off just in the post, like, you can't stop it.
Hey man, let me tell you something. When you're able to have the ball in your hands on a consistent basis, like those top 3 guys, and he's the main guy, especially coming down the stretch, because he's bigger. Obviously, James Harden, more perimeter player, on the smaller side. But when going into the playoffs, I made a comment about Kawhi being in rhythm, right, and having time to get in rhythm. That was my only concern, but obviously that has not mattered or affected anything. But I expect that series to go at least 7, man. And it's going to be interesting because it's going to end up back in Denver for Game 7. So, hey.
I don't know if it's going to get to Game 7.
You don't think so?
I'm not sure. I think the Clippers, even though they lost Game 1 in overtime, built that 15-point lead early.
Yeah.
I think they can go win the next 2 in LA.
Man, your boy Murray, though. He stepped up in that first game down the stretch for a second there. He's going to have to be a little bit more consistent and more aggressive. But what's up with Porter over there? Porter Jr., man.
Sprained his left shoulder. He got landed on by Norman Powell.
See, now,
so they were dabbing on the floor and he got crunched.
That's a terrible loss right there, man. Especially with him being athletic and being able to help Gordon on the boards and different things like that on both ends of the floor. But hey, okay, we'll see what happens. It would be very interesting to see if the Clippers do get this. But on paper, I would say the Clippers are more skilled, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah, when you look at, the Norman Powell role players like that, and now it's just more, which your star is going to carry the load, but it's just more now on Jamal Murray and Jokic. Because the one thing with the Nuggets, man, they don't play a lot of defense. You're kind of seeing that in this series. It's easy for Kawhi Leonard. It's easy for James Harden to get their buckets.
You talking about what about the Warriors?
I said the Nuggets.
Okay.
The losing, just as you said, Porter, who got called out in Game 1 performance. Russell Westbrook closed down the stretch. He was good. But he had 15 points, 15 boards. And one thing the Nuggets struggle with, as you said, that the rebounding. They're the worst defensive team left in the playoffs. And you lose just a wing guy. It just puts that much more pressure on the offense.
Oh, without a doubt. And it comes from the 1 and the 2, especially when you don't have that power, that small power forward at the 3 position that's going to step up and rebound, right? Obviously, 15 rebounds is huge. That's a whole different aspect of the game, especially when you have somebody in your backcourt on the Clippers coming in and dominating from that perspective. And this is a guy we haven't talked about, Westbrook, man. Where does he come in and fit in, right, Zay? Like, from the standpoint of, like, has he been there? Yes. Did he knock down a big 3 in the first game? I think in the corner. But outside of that, like, what is he doing?
He was huge. The effort in Game 1. Hitting that 3, go-ahead 3. Now he might have kind of messed up the final possession. But then also with 9 seconds left, he forces a turnover on the inbounds in overtime.
That was interesting.
Where then the Nuggets go down, hit the 2 free throws up by 5.
You can tell, I mean, when it comes to him, it looks like it's mental, right? Trying to figure out where you fit in, what you should be doing. You miss a couple shots, man, on the perimeter. It changes the whole dynamic. He should have just took that shot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I remember I was telling JJ that this thing with Westbrook is you get this feeling of when he hits a big 3 like that, you're excited as a Nuggets fan, but then also you're like, okay, now he's confident. Now he might start letting the 3s fly, and we don't want him to let the 3s fly. So then he had another opportunity so fast, like so quickly after he hit that shot. I don't even think he had truly processed that he hit the previous big 3.
Now, yeah, and let me tell you guys, the Clippers' game plan is to allow him to shoot 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is. And they know where he is on the floor, and it's obvious.
Yeah, it's the right play.
Yeah.
It's
smart.
collapse off him, throw an extra body at Jokic, throw an extra body at Jamal, especially if they're running that pick and roll. Because, last night, 23 minutes, 5 of 11 from the floor was Westbrook, 3 of 6 from 3.
Yeah.
And those numbers are going to go up because his minutes are going to go up with Michael Porter Jr. out.
Yeah, with Porter Jr. out, and then you got Kawhi, who's an athletic guard. He's getting buckets. Unless Jokic is on or Murray is on, the Nuggets don't really have a direct response. And Kawhi's a rhythm scorer, so I expect him to come finding his shot again the next game. So the Nuggets need to stay away from these close games. I think they caught a break with that first one.
And I think the Clippers have a great bench. They not only the bench, they have a great supporting cast when it comes to who's going to come in and know what they're doing. You got some guys that can knock down some shots. What's the big boy over there with the Clippers that's been in the league for like 10 years?
Zubac.
Yeah, and him, great rebounder, but
the bench for the Clippers last night at 18 minutes from Nicholas Batum.
Him.
19 from Derek Jones Jr.
Batum is X factor for me.
Your backup center is Ben Simmons. He played 8 minutes. And then Bogdan Bogdanovic played 15. He was 0 for 5.
Ben Simmons is irrelevant. Yeah. Batum and it was one other dude who said those are the guys that's coming in, being able to play the right way, playing defense, and knocking down shots and being aggressive in the right moments. Batum's always been that way.
Yeah, 6 points, 4 boards, 2 steals, a block, 18 minutes for Batum. And then Clippers go back 1-1 to LA. How much? Because I want to talk about the Pistons and then the response we could see from Houston.
Yeah.
Just can you learn game 1 to game 2? Because Detroit played a good game 1.
Yeah.
Had an awful fourth quarter where the Knicks go on that 21-0 run.
Yep.
But then Detroit comes right back and they're in the lead last night. Gets tight in the fourth quarter. But just the experience, even in just one postseason game, can you learn from that, game 1 to game 2?
Well, Monty Williams over there has done a great job as far as like putting that cast together over there in Detroit, man. They're a young squad. You got Cade Cunningham. Obviously, all of the burden is on his shoulders. Who's going to be those guys that step up and actually support down the stretch when they do need buckets? I don't think they have that other dude that can actually do that. That's going to be the hindering point.
Yeah, and we saw that they had it last night. It was Dennis Schroeder, 29 minutes off the bench. He had 20 points, but you don't have a legit number 2.
No.
You have guys that could be good 3s or 4s right now, but not a legit number 2. And that's why I think ultimately, the Knicks win the series because 1 through 5, what they're throwing at you.
Without a doubt.
But that's also, they had that 21-0 run, but that's 2 games for the Pistons where they had a lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
In New York.
Oh yeah, wasn't like 75 to 67 or something like that last time I checked. But when it comes down to Detroit being able to execute, they're better. Obviously, every team is better at home to a certain extent. Being able to go home, you gotta at least steal one of those. Obviously, right? You can't go down at home and lose those 2 games to a team with the Knicks that have so much depth. And you got Cat over there that's there, but he's not even involved yet like he should be. But keep in mind, man, those Knicks, they got some dogs over there. And they got some guys that can play and that's been in the league for a while. And you got to keep in mind, Detroit doesn't have that. They're still young.
Yeah. You're playing for Coach Thibodeau. You better have some grit.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think what's Detroit's average age right now? Maybe about 25, 26 or something like that?
Yeah, it's interesting because you look and they're young in playoff experience. But, you look at Tobias Harris, the guy that's been there, done that. Dennis Schroeder's been there, done that. Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. Like, the guy's been in the league for a while, just not a lot of playoff.
Well, Harris, I mean, come on. What's happened in Philly, it was a disaster when he was over there to a certain extent because I don't think he realized what his role was. And I felt like his role in Philly was to be aggressive. Now Monty Williams is the type of dude that can relate to Harris because they kind of played the same position. And I played with Monty Williams when we were in Philadelphia together under Larry Brown. So when it comes to the mindset of Harris being that dude, yes, I forgot about him because he came out and he played a great first game. And I don't know what he had last night, but he could be that X factor as far as Detroit down the stretch. I totally forgot about Harris.
15 points, 13 boards. He played, so Harris played 43 minutes. Cunningham played 42.
Yeah.
Jeez. And they're just leaning into it. It's postseason basketball. You got to be able to play 40.
Who else do they have outside of those 2?
Well, it's the same thing for the Knicks. Right? You look at their starting lineup. Bridges, 38. OG,
Beast.
42. Cat 33, Brunson 44, Hart 40.
And Payne.
Yeah, Brunson's playing 40 every game in this whole series. As long as they're in the playoffs, he's playing 40.
And look at what Payne, what's his name? Payne from that came with Bridges.
He had 11.
See, the first game he took over
quarter.
that game in the third, fourth quarter from a standpoint of he was in a rhythm. He man, the bench, the Knicks are deep when it comes to their bench.
Yeah, and it's you transfer over to I think what is going to be the best game tonight, and that's Lakers Timberwolves game 2 after Minnesota. Let everyone know slow down. There was only a 1 game difference between the 3rd seed and the 6th seed. That's a 3-6 matchup. It's the Lakers. It's Luka and LeBron. The Lakers were a 50-win team. Minnesota was a 49-win team. Yeah. It's not as big of a gap as we all kind of got lulled into thinking going into this series. But the response from the Lakers, you mentioned it. In the postseason, there's role player games, and then there's superstar games. Minnesota got 25 points from Jaden McDaniels, 23 points from Naz Reid in game 1. And that dude is consistent. He's a good player. But if those guys come back down to earth a little bit, which you expect from some of the
11 for 13 out of Jaden McDaniels, come on.
He's not going to do that every game. But how do you see the Lakers' response in game 2?
Well, the Lakers are going to have to come out on the perimeter and play Naz Reid, man. The fact that this guy hit 3 or 4 threes and one in front of their bench fading away in that first game, come on, man. That's a slap in the face. From the standpoint, it's a set shot is what he's making, too. Why not make him put the ball on the floor? You got to change the dynamic of how guys play throughout the course of the game. You can't allow them to continuously get in a rhythm and do the same thing that they've done. And we haven't even talked about
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle, man, from the standpoint of he's effective, he commands attention, and he's also a guy that can shoot on the perimeter. When it comes to matchups, it's interesting to see who's going to guard him and who's going to guard Naz Reid, because both of those guys can mix it up. But Randle, he's more of a guy that plays inside, right? So if he gets going, that's going to change the whole dynamic of the game. When it comes to the Lakers, LeBron's 41 years old. Luka has to step up, and obviously what's his name?
Austin
Reeves. Got to do something. Because when you think about the Lakers, what inside presence do the Lakers actually have?
Nothing. It's just alley-oops with Luka and Jackson Hayes, and that's about it.
So with that said, your game plan is obviously to get the ball out of Luka and Reeves' hands to where they can't be effective. LeBron's going to do what LeBron does to a certain extent.
I hope so. I really hope so. Like you said, Reeves needs to do better. I mean, that's really the big factor, because LeBron broke it down in his little podcast with Steve Nash. He says, okay, so the best defenders the top 2 defenders are going to be taking me and Luka. That puts the 3rd best defender on Reeves, which is what makes the Lakers so dangerous. But if Reeves is not getting any shots off, he's not making any buckets, it just kind of breaks the whole team down from the inside out. So
yeah, totally agree. But I'm telling you, man, them Lakers better watch out. Based off of the first game, I'm just keeping it real.
That was scary.
If you're saying
it's a younger team too,
physicality might have been an issue. Well, you're not getting bigger.
It was.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's not going to change for the Lakers between game 1 and 2.
Yeah,
getting bigger.
And the physicality was not necessarily on the perimeter, right? Yeah. It was. I think it's more
the rebounds.
I think this is going to be an inside game, because the Lakers don't have anybody inside that can score. Obviously, hopefully they're rebounding, but when it comes to Minnesota, man, I didn't realize what Minnesota actually had as far as their bigs, as being able to be productive and dominating on the offensive defensive boards.
Kenny Thomas with us in studio. The response tonight, we saw it last night. Teams that lost game 1 came back and won on the road in Milwaukee. Do they have anything for the Pacers? Memphis, my goodness, man.
Oh,
my goodness. Yeah. 51-point loss in game 1. Holy smokes.
Might be worse next game.
Minnesota and Los Angeles. We'll get into that. Plus, there's a 7-footer coming to campus for the Lobos.
Hey.
We'll talk about that next. It's the opening drive here on The Sports Animal.
You're listening to the Jim.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more
It was going to be a process. It was going to take a little bit of time for Lobo basketball, and you had to replace every player on the roster. But Eric Olin has some intriguing signings. He was able to officially talk about a few yesterday when UNM announced Antonio Chol and the Patton brothers are officially the Lobos. You just got to dot the I's, cross the T's on all the paperwork to be officially admitted to UNM. But you look at the Lobo roster, and there's a big addition this morning. Kicking it with Kenny Thomas in studio's opening drive here on The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, Zay Johnson with you. So within the last hour, Lobo's got a commitment from JT Rock, 7'1" center from Iowa State. But here's the thing. He reclassified, so he got to Iowa State a year early. 7'1", needed some time. So he took a redshirt season 23-24 and 24-25. And he only played about 2.5 minutes a game last year. So you're talking about a 7'1" kid that needed to get stronger. Well, he's able to spend the last couple years getting bigger in the weight room, practicing at the D1 level. And it's an intriguing foundation. Now we'll see. You can give him some pointers, KT, on what he has to do at UNM. But, all right, you got some size. We'll have to see just how he catches the ball in the post, what he does. But we knew the next things coming was, all right, veteran point guard and then work at the 5. And he got 1-5 coming in now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these kids that are coming in, getting opportunities to be able to develop, like you said, the big kid has had. When it comes to getting stronger, one thing that stands out to me, it's like when Nelly came back. When Nelly came, okay, well, his lower body seemed like it was a little weaker. Not that it was weak or anything. It just needed to get stronger. He came back the next year, and you can tell, like, his base was there. His foundation was there. Totally different when it came to him having opportunities to be able to go in the post and do some things, right? It's a matter of establishing yourself and figuring out what you have when you do have opportunities being a big guy and just capitalizing on what you do best. If it's a jump hook or whatever it may be, right? In college, I use my jump hook both ways. I had a left and a right hand. So it's a matter of developing and getting better. Some people reached out to me that there was a kid from Sacramento that just committed, a young kid. He just came on a visit, I think, last week. I forgot his name, but I had some people in Sacramento reaching out to me saying how explosive this kid is. He can dunk the ball.
Kevin Patton?
No, it's I followed him on Instagram, but I can't think of his name right now. But he's coming from Sacramento, and he's athletic, and he can jump for him being a guard, and he's explosive, right? So what coach is doing over there with the basketball program, it sucks because he's having to rebuild it. But he's being able to bring in the people that he wants and the people that want to be here and play for him. That's the key, right? But once again, you never know what's going to go on with this portal because people can go in it. People can commit, but then at the same time, they can also change their mind. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, and when you look at, being an athlete, there's certain skills that you have. You either have it or you don't. But in this case, when you look at the explosiveness, right, that they're bringing in. And I mentioned Kevin Patton. He's one we've seen, a 6'8" guard from USC, but he was an all West Coast Conference player freshman season at San Diego, and you see the highlight clip, and he's dunking over people. And then all of a sudden, you look at this 5'10" guard that's coming in from Arizona, the kid over the weekend, Uriah Tenetti, 5'10" guard in transition in his highlights, 360 dunk in a game. Like that's some pretty good hops for a 5'10" player.
Is that the kid with the curly hair?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the kid I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking
Yeah.
about. But people in Arizona, Sacramento, reached out.
So 5'10" kid has and it's one of those dunks where it was like there wasn't a doubt. Like it wasn't like, oh, he just barely made it. Like he got up and he's 5'10".
It was effortless, JJ.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying when you have just that basiveness of the explosiveness, how do you kind of then hone in the rest of this stuff?
You got to keep in mind, just because somebody can get to the basket doesn't mean that's going to happen on a regular basis. No disrespect, but that's high school, right? This is a whole different world when it comes to
grown
college.
men on the other side.
Grown men that's playing 10 years in NCAA, for college, for their team or multiple teams, right, nowadays. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see the upside because it's a matter of starting all over and creating a foundation. That foundation is going to determine getting other players here based off of opportunities. And I got to give a shout out to Kurt Roth, right? 505 SVF. If it wasn't for him, like there would not be opportunities for a bag of money to where, hey, they can give these kids an opportunity to be able to come to New Mexico. So you got to give a shout out to my boy Kurt.
And it's still not done. He said the portal, even if it closes, all those players in the portal are still looking for a place to go. We're going to have signings next couple weeks, into May, heck, potentially even into June because the NBA draft process.
Yeah.
The players that are keeping the eligibility open, working out, testing the draft water. If they don't like what happens there, they can go back to school.
Yeah. Good for them, man. I don't particularly like the fact that guys are able to transfer a couple times, like 3-4 times. I could see like one or two, but because they got to figure out what's the opportunity for them to be able to get opportunities to be seen, right? To be able to advance their career, being able to play after college basketball. That's the key. Hey, JJ, I might as well hop in the portal. Kurt Roth, I'm going to hop in the portal, man.
You might have some eligibility left.
From the standpoint of being able to help the Lobos, if there's anything that I can do with my experience, I guess, for 11 years, and I'm here. So if there's anything that I can do to help, I'm totally with it if it's within my schedule.
Yeah.
Unless they put me on payroll.
There you go. And speaking of that schedule, you do have a lot going on.
I have a lot going on, man. I'm like, where do I start? I have a golf tournament. I know this is far out. September 6th. It's going to be, that's a Saturday. It's going to be the Sleda Golf Course. Follow me on my Instagram or my social media, Kenny Thomas NBA. I will be posting more. There is the save the date that's been put out there. I have some celebrities coming in. Michael Cooper's coming back for the second year. And I got some of my college teammates, Royce Only, Clayton Shields, David Gibson, Pat Kelly, Ramon Martinez, all these guys. And I'm having some local celebrities too, being able to come. So they're coming on my dime. It's with the Special Olympics. I'm raising money for the Special Olympics. And being able to support that cause. It's going to be a great time. There's going to be
how about that?
The White Hicks 49er. He's coming back and he's looking at bringing some of the Niners. I can't really say who yet, but hopefully we can get some more Lakers too as well with Michael Cooper. And it's going to be a good time. I usually have a DJ out there and we have fun. And then I'm going to have all my partners out there, APD, the county, some of their vendors, and just some local vendors that want to come out. And I'm trying to help them bring awareness to what they're doing and the different things as well. So, yeah.
Big time stuff. Check it out.
Yeah.
On the show, schools at Kenny Thomas NBA. Appreciate you, man.
Man.
Talk to you on Friday.
Yeah,
Break it all down.
Appreciate you guys coming. Hey, and if you're watching this, hey, excuse my stunner shades, but my eyes are killing me and they're swollen. So, yeah.
There we go. It's Kenny Thomas. It is the sports animal.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
JJ Bucks and Johnson holding it down. We're going to catch up with Brandon Cristal here in a moment. Talk some NFL draft, NBA playoffs as well. There's a lot going on this morning here on The Sports Animal. So I'll get you that number right quick. There you go, Zay. Just hit. We'll connect with Brandon Cristal here in a moment.
Yes, sir. We've actually got right here is Edward.
Edward, what's up, man?
Well, good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for taking me before your guest. I'm sure he's going to be very insightful. I really like Isaiah. I like his content. I like his delivery. I got something that's going to sting a little bit this morning. I'll be brief. The draft's Thursday night. I think the Dallas Cowboys, by no means am I a Cowboy expert, but I just follow data and trends. I think they obviously need to take the best player available. I would take either an offensive lineman or a defensive guy who impacted the defensive side of the ball. I think there's multiple holes there. Here's my bold prediction for this year, one of them. This will be Dak Prescott's last season as a starter of the Dallas Cowboys. By the way, if he gets hurt, and by the way, I think Dak's a very nice, good career, a very solid career as a starter. If he happens to get hurt, and Michael Irvin, in his goofiness and his erratic behavior, he has sometimes moments of clarity. If Dak Prescott gets hurt this year and Milton sees the field, Prescott won't get back on the field. He will not see the field again.
Edward, I'm sorry I got to cut you off, man. I got to go to the guest, man. We got a quick turnaround here.
I'll respond in just a quick second, Edward, but I agree.
No worries. 505-246-0610. Quick transition. Just wrapped up with Kenny Thomas. Now we're going to talk with Brandon Cristal. I haven't spoken to him in a moment, but it is popping. It was a gut punch last night. I was watching the end of the Nuggets game. The Clippers get them late. The Avs lose in overtime, but 1-1 postseason series. And then, yes, the NFL draft, the Denver Broncos with the 20th overall pick. So much going on. Brandon Cristal joins us in the opening drive this morning. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I heard y'all talking Cowboys at the end of that chat there, right as I was coming on. And as somebody who grew up in Dallas, and my Cowboys fanship certainly ebbs and flows when you have Jerry Jones as the owner. You can only handle so much ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
I do know this, talking to T.C. McCartney, the quarterback's coach with the Patriots a year ago, and T.C., the grandson of the legendary Bill McCartney here at Colorado. I saw T.C. at the Combine, and he's a big Joe Milton fan. And T.C.'s not on anyone's staff, but he said if he ended up on someone's staff, he would certainly, if they needed any kind of young quarterback in the building, would have been banging the desk to get Joe Milton in there just because of his physical tools. So, I think Dak Prescott sometimes gets a bad rap, although he earns it with some of the throws he makes. But I do know that at least one coach has a high opinion of Joe Milton. And I know some Patriots, some folks up with the Patriots and that cover the team that think that they could have gotten more than what the Cowboys gave them.
Yeah, I like that. And I tell you what, as Cowboy fans, we are definitely no strangers to seeing an unexpected quarterback come take over the starter's position. So,
Brandon Cristal with us. So, BK, it's draft week, so much going on. And, the buzz with this draft is one that it feels like you can find good players all over the place. And an intriguing one, definitely at the running back position. Sean Payton's been talking about that. Ashton Jeanty said, oh, yeah, the Broncos have been on me, but they're at the 20th pick in the first round. Do you think they're coming out with running back, and what do you think of this running back class and kind of how it could kick off wherever Ashton Jeanty does go within the top 10 picks?
Yeah, and, we'll see runs on positions, but because I think there's a gap, at least going into this, and talking to some personnel people, including with the Broncos, but between Jeanty and everyone else, whether that's Amari Hampton or Travion Henderson or his teammate Quinshon Judkins, the other Ohio State Buckeye, or whomever you might like as a running back, there's still that gap, and it doesn't seem realistic that the Broncos are going to go up and get Jeanty, or that they necessarily want to. Sean Payton has drafted 2 first-round running backs, and they both had Heismans, and they both kind of fell to them. And Reggie Bush was expected to go number 1 in Sean Payton's first draft in 2006, but the Texans take Mario Williams, so they had no choice but to take Reggie and then pair him up with Deuce McAllister. And then Mark Ingram they really liked, but Cam Jordan fell to them in their first round, and they were able to trade back into to the later part of the first round and get Mark Ingram. So that's two Heisman winners who were pretty impactful right away. And I'm not saying those other backs won't be. I'm just saying that Sean Payton prides himself, as much as he didn't even talk about Reggie and Ingram that much. He always talks about Alvin Kamara and finding him in the third round when they went to Tennessee to look at I want to say it was Marcus Williams, a safety, and ended up falling in love with Kamara and then thought they'd lose him, but he made it to the third round and they got him. And so I think Sean Payton is one of those guys that thinks he can see the draft differently than most. And I think if you look at his track record, he's probably right. George Payton's drafted really well in his time here, and certainly was a big part of what the Vikings were able to do with Rick Spielman for all those years that he was in Minnesota. And so I think that it doesn't feel like running back is the way they're going to go, or that they're going to or Genty, but they're not going to trade up a couple spots to get Omarion Hampton at 17 if they're worried that he's not going to make it to 20. What feels most realistic is that they'll trade back at 20, or if they're stuck at 20, that they're going to grab one of the higher-rated D linemen that's going to slip to them, like a Walter Nolan, who they had in the building, or one of the receivers that all kind of have top-end potential, whether that's McMillan from Arizona or Burden from Missouri, or if Matthew Golden's there somehow from Texas, that's the direction they would go with one of those wideouts. But I think they'll be open for business all day if somebody wants to come up and get that 20th pick and give them a few more picks.
What was the key for the Broncos to put themselves in position? Yeah, Sean Payton comes in and work their way through the Russell Wilson situation. On the outside looking in, people are like, oh, man, they got to deal with that contract. You got to eat it. There's a lot of work to do. What kind of fell in place to where, it clicks with Bo Nix, but now there's this foundation where there's this exciting now upside with the Broncos with everything they had to kind of work through early with Peyton and Russell Wilson?
Yeah, well, I think you nailed it just kind of by touching on it at the end there, and that's Bo Nix. You roll the dice on a rookie first-round quarterback like every team's done forever, and you almost never hit. We can name all of the great quarterbacks pretty quickly and even all the good ones. But as it stands today, with a few more guys like Aaron Rodgers and company and maybe Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, of course, Big Ben, those guys are all going to have gold jackets. There's currently 7 first-round quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. Peyton Manning is the 7th first-round quarterback since the common draft, which is when the two leagues merged with the AFL and NFL in 1970 or whatever that was. So that gives you an idea of how hard it is to find a quarterback really at all, but even in the first round. And I get to the playoffs is always about who has the better quarterback, and most of the good quarterbacks right now, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, even Matthew Stafford, who I think will end up with a gold jacket, but guys like that, all Josh Allen, of course, all first-round picks. So the quarterback position has gotten better, but you're still not always hitting, because that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson draft, you get Baker, who's certainly been up and down, and Josh Rosen, and Sam Darnold, who's definitely been up and down. So there's no guarantee. But the Broncos feel like they hit. There's no reason to think otherwise when you look at the rookie season Bo Nix had and what they were able to do despite the salary cap restrictions being $50 million in dead cap. So if everybody else could spend whatever that number was last year, $215, $220, they could only spend $170, $175, whatever $50 million less is. And so they were able to work around that and move on from guys like Justin Simmons and clear up some room. And now they've been in pretty good shape, which is why they added 3 big free agent pieces, or at least they hope to be free agent pieces. But again, when you've got the quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback, you know that you've got the opportunity to build around him with vets at other spots and pay the guys that you have in the building, like they did with Garrett Bowles and of course Pat Surtain. But when you hit on that rookie QB, and they did it in Washington as well, you're going to have 3 or 4 years where you're going to be able to make a run at it if that QB is playing well. So by having Bo Nix in the fold, it gives them so much flexibility. But beyond that, and we know that there's kind of 4 pillars for a really good organization, and that's solid ownership, a head coach and GM that are also stable and work well together, and then the quarterback. But then on the roster, kind of the 4 pillars you need: the quarterback, which they have in Bo Nix, the cornerback, which they certainly have in PS2, a shutdown corner, the best defensive player in football, an edge rusher that's a game wrecker, and they have that in Nick Bonito, plus they have Jonathan Cooper and some really good defensive interior linemen as well, like Zach Allen, and then the left tackle. And Garrett Bowles has had an up-and-down ride too, but they just gave him another big contract, and he's going to likely finish his career in Denver. So they've got all the key pieces. So that's just about filling in the holes, and that puts you in really good shape heading into any draft, but certainly heading into this year's.
Just a few more minutes. Brandon Cristal with us here on the opening drive. And you look at the AFC West now, and it was Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I have Harbaugh and Herbert, Peyton and Nix. Now it's Pete Carroll with Geno Smith. All right, they were going to try to get that going. But the AFC West, it's been hyped. I think it's going to start living up to the hype. And then you look at the Raiders, too. Are they Ashton Jeanty territory? What's it like now in the division, just covering it with these quarterback coach combos and just all the experience in the AFC West?
Yeah, it's in some ways the toughest division in football, although you can obviously make a case for the AFC and NFC North have both been really good with the teams they're putting in the playoffs, but you are able, the last couple of years last year, but with the Broncos and Chiefs and Chargers to be in that postseason mix, and there's now that extra spot. But still, if three playoff teams are coming from the same division, that's a tough division. And then you add a Hall of Fame caliber coach who's got a Super Bowl and obviously a championship at USC as well, and Pete Carroll, and a guy that is going to kind of right that ship when they've just been rudderless over the last few years after the John Gruden thing didn't work out and all of that. I don't know how great Geno Smith really is, and I'm not even sure that they won't kick the tires on a quarterback, including Shedeur Sanders at 6, especially if somebody jumps them to go get Ashton Jeanty at 5, or it's Jacksonville that takes Jeanty, because Tom Brady's known Shedeur for a long time. And so, but in the short term, Geno's not going to hurt you, and they're going to play good defense, and they're going to run the football regardless of who the back is. And so it's going to be tough out in Vegas as their roster gets better. And John Spytek's a guy that I've known for a long time. He was in Denver for a bit, and then was in Tampa for a bunch of years, and played at Michigan when Tom Brady was finishing up. He was just getting into Ann Arbor, but so he's been around the game forever. And so with Spytek there and Tom Brady kind of helping call the shots, at least on big decisions, and Pete Carroll, the Raiders are certainly going to be a force to be reckoned with. The Chargers with Harbaugh and a very talented Justin Herbert, who hasn't necessarily put it all together, but you see obviously the ability there is going to scare you every game, and the Broncos are closing that gap, but we know that they're still chasing the Chiefs. Everybody is. They've gone to 3 straight Super Bowls and 4 of the last 6, and have the best player in football, even if he's not winning the MVP. I don't know if there's anybody you'd rather have, even if you could have Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, or Lamar Jackson that you would take ahead of Patrick. And so as long as you have that guy plus Andy Reid calling plays, they're going to be the team to beat until proven otherwise in that division. And so it's a lot of fun, but it also, I think it kind of cuts both ways. You can certainly lose any game, but when you win those games, it means a little more, and it also means you can play with anybody in the league, which is what I think these teams in the AFC West feel like they can do.
So I want to see what you guys think of this. I'm actually, there's this rumor starting to heat up across my phone now. It's saying that Denver and Dallas could potentially do a trade. Dallas could trade back to the 20 spot, and then Denver could trade up to 12. And Stephen Jones did say himself, he's like, we're not going to trade up, but I could see trading back as a possibility. What do you think are the chances that Denver maybe trades up to 12? I don't know who they target at 12, but that's a rumor I just saw.
I would think that it's one of these offensive players, and maybe it's Tyler Warren, somebody like that, if he somehow slips, because that gives Sean Payton another joker, even though they signed Evan Ingram, who certainly can be a matchup problem. We know health is always going to be a concern. It's only a 2-year deal that they signed Ingram to. He's already 30. So is it Tyler Warren? Is there a wideout that they love so much that they don't think will get past 12? Perhaps. But Sean Payton is not averse to trading up. He did it for Marcus Davenport. He's done it for other players where he just gave away next year's first rounder. And again, when you've got that rookie QB, you can afford to roll the dice. As valuable as first rounders are, and we know that you can find a starter there almost every year if you hit on them, it doesn't mean you're going to. And if there's a player that you love that can make you better right now and over the next few years, and you get that still 5th-year controlled contract as well because of the way the rookie salary caps are set up, then I think that makes a lot of sense. And the Cowboys need a little more help in a few spots, especially with O-line depletion over the last couple of years, making sure Dak has enough weapons. We know that running back is still, I think, a position of need, as well as a little bit of help on defense. So that kind of makes sense to me. Even though George Payton has a history of wanting to trade back, he has traded up even before Sean got there to go get Javonte Williams, and so I think that would make sense, because I don't think if you're seeing people are taking calls, or the Giants and Browns are taking calls at 2 and 3 because so many people love Travis Hunter. Well, the Broncos aren't going from 20 to 2 unless they want to trade not only 20 this year, next year's first, and the first after that, and probably a couple more picks and maybe even a player to make that all make sense. So they're not going that high, but 20 to 12 would probably be the extreme. That being said, I think the Cowboys could use a little more help. The Broncos have 3 6-rounders this year. They obviously have a full slate of picks next year. So it wouldn't surprise me if, you're jumping from 20 to 12 with next year's number 1, maybe even a couple picks this year, as well as, another mid-round pick next year.
Brandon, it's great stuff, man. Where can people follow you, what you're doing now, and who you're working with?
Yeah, just go to @BK Denver Sports across all your social channels, although I tend to be most active on X, formerly Twitter. I still call it Twitter most of the time. But I've got a new company that I'm a part of that I've got an ownership stake in called Guerrilla Sports, and we cover all the teams here in and around Denver. So we cover the Buffs and certainly the Nugs and Avs and now the Rockies, who are technically still a professional team. And they won a game Sunday, so it's one of the hottest teams in baseball now, as well as, of course, the Denver Broncos top to bottom. So @BK Denver Sports, and then everything we're doing, GuerrillaSports.net. We actually have a new merch store with a lot of fun T-shirts that people are taking notice of. And, we got one with Jared Bednar where I heard his wife wants to buy dozens of them to share with the family. So, yeah, check out GuerrillaSports.net because we got a bunch of cool stuff over there, too.
I always appreciate the time, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks.
BK Denver Sports, Brand Cristal holding it down. A lot of great stuff there. We'll be back after this right here on The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech.
Trading up in the draft. Now, that's a manageable jump you can make for a team. As Denver attacking one of those offensive players. But you also have to ask yourself, who's up there? Everyone wants to trade back. Everyone wants more picks. But all it takes is one phone call. And the right guy to be there so you can acquire those more picks and trade back in the draft. And that's what is so fun about this process. It's the potential of finding that right piece that takes you over the top, or just adding to the foundation, the depth. A role player out of nowhere that helps your franchise. That's the fun of the NFL draft. And one thing in there with BK, I appreciate the time Brian Cristal with us just this last segment.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Vegas at 6 is interesting because I wouldn't rule out Shedeur Sanders there. Like, if that is real, the Tom Brady, Shedeur Sanders relationship working together, if Shedeur is there at 6, and yes, the Raiders made a move to at least the moment have a quarterback for this season, because you didn't know, was Shedeur going to be a top 3 pick? Was he going to be the number 1 overall pick? So you understand why the Raiders would make the Geno Smith trade when they did, just to have a quarterback in place to try to be competitive next season.
Mm-hmm.
But if Shedeur is there at 6 and then they pass on him, do you read into that? Or is it just, hey, it's business and it wasn't the right business decision for the Raiders at 6?
I think if they pass on him, I can't say it's the right business decision, just because I mean, his jersey would be really, really top of the league when it comes to
selling
sales.
jerseys or trying to win games.
Exactly, but we think of business.
You can do both.
Yeah,
in this situation, maybe
possibly, very well, possibly. But I think deep down, Tom Brady wants to take him. There's got to be a good reason if he doesn't.
How about that stat he dropped? The first-round quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was wild.
Wow. That one's bonkers.
I had to think about that for a second.
Hold up.
Wow.
Appreciate Brandon Cristal. You can check him out at BK Denver Sports. Of course, Kenny Thomas dropping the knowledge in studio as well. Adrian, appreciate you on ProView Networks. Dave, can't wait to have some more fun tomorrow, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
We got Colin Cowherd coming up next. Jim Rome shows balls at 2 men on. We'll take you up into Isotopes baseball. We'll be back with you at 7 a.m. tomorrow, everybody. Metal, peace, and love. Have a great day.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros